Hi, welcome. My
Hi.
name's Hattie. It says on here that your name is Eric. Is that how you'd like to be referred?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right, cool. Well, Eric, as I said, my name's Hattie. I'll be your therapist for our for today's session and any recurrent sessions that we have. And I'd just like to first go over our expectations for each other. As a therapist, I want to be able to create a neutral space for you where you feel safe to like share anything that you need to share, as well as just like feeling, as well as being able to be open and vulnerable with me so that we can really work on whatever issue that you came in for. And then, do you have any expectations for me as a therapist that you'd like me to like express for you?
No, I just have these feelings and I want to talk about them.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I will do my best and to be very open and safe for you so that you can share yourself without feeling like that you don't want to share with me. And if you ever do feel like I say anything or that my demeanor is off, please let me know because that's never my intention. All right, so I would also like to go over our confidentiality statement that we have here in this agency. So essentially, whatever you share with me here is going to be kept confidential unless it involves a plan of action to harm yourself, to harm someone else, or any abuse involving children, adults, older adults, or anyone that is in a vulnerable population, such as disabled people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, do you have any questions about that?
No.
All right. So now I'd like to go into the mood check. So it says on your intake form that you came in for anxiety. Is that the issue that you'd like to work on? Okay, sounds good. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least anxiety that you felt like in a long time or like close to no anxiety, and 10 being just like a lot of anxiety and you just felt like really overwhelmed, where would you say that the past week was for you?
The past week, I would say like a 4, but that's because we were on break. Now that I'm back, I would say like an 8.
Okay. Wow, that's a high jump. So this past week was kind of like half break, half back in school for you. And so when you were on break, you felt it was a 4. And then now coming back to school, it jumped up to an 8. So what did that change look like for you?
Um, it became really hard to focus,
Mhm.
and I found myself like micromanaging my day just because I felt like there was always something I was missing.
Yeah.
And I just like you said, completely feeling overwhelmed,
Yeah.
like not knowing what to do with myself half the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I'm so sorry. That sounds awful to have to deal with that. That huge jump. Obviously that feels super uncomfortable to go from being sort of at peace to just like super anxious. Um, so at an 8, that's pretty high. So hopefully during this session, it will go down a little bit, but we're going to work towards bringing that number down. And what would be like an ideal goal for you to be at? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you like to be?
I'd like to be at a 4. That was good.
It was pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so our goal is to get you back down to that 4.
Yes.
Okay. So I also want to go over the agenda that we're going to be doing today. So we did our introductions, and then we also reviewed confidentiality. We went over the mood check. And so now we are going to be moving on to goal setting. So what it is exactly that you want to get out and what a 4 would look like for you. And then we're also going to be talking about what problem that you want to like really focus on, as well as I will do a little bit of education on CBT, which is the behavior therapy that we're going to use. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the form of therapy that we're going to use. Sorry. And then I will assign some homework for you to do. It's not going to be super difficult. It won't add onto your school load already, which I'm sure is a lot. And then I will summarize and then ask you for some feedback. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Okay. All right. So for our goal, what is it that you want to get out of our time together, as well as what is it that you want to be different so that you will know that you're at a 4?
I would like to learn more about how to manage my own stress, maybe like really discover the root of my anxiety,
Mhm.
because I just feel the anxiety and I'm not really sure where it's coming from. Like I know things can be stressful.
Yeah.
But I don't know, is maybe stress and anxiety like hand in hand in my situation?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I wanna figure out where is this like coming from and how can I fix that?
Okay, sounds good. So you'd like to get to the root cause, maybe identifying what's stress, what's anxiety, what's overlapping. Okay, sounds good. We can definitely do that. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and sort of what it does. So there are three main components, and the first one is called automatic thought, which is where the first thought that pops into your head. So it could be anything. It could be like, oh, this job is really hard. Or, oh man, I don't know about that professor. He seems like he's going to be really difficult, something like that, right? And then those thoughts can cause an emotion. So, for example, if you say, oh man, I don't know about this professor, it seems like it's going to be really difficult, then you might start feeling a little anxious, like, oh, how am I going to do this class, type deal. And then after the automatic thought, and then the emotion comes, and then a behavior might happen. So after you start to feel anxious from thinking that about the professor, it might cause you to procrastinate a little bit in your studies, right? Or you may it might even induce like anxiety attack, like worrying about how this class is going to end for you, right? So that's how the automatic thoughts work to control our emotions and our behaviors. So our goal is to be able to identify those automatic thoughts and sort of change it so that we can identify that thought and change it to something positive. So for example, that could be like, oh, that thought was, or oh, the professor might be really difficult, but I think that I can do it. Something like that. Does that sound like something that you understand? Did I explain it well?
Oh, that was great, yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so what I want you to do for this week for homework, I want you to think of 3 times when you have an automatic thought and also record the emotion that comes after that thought. So for example, maybe you're walking out of class and you're like, oh, that class was super difficult. Maybe I should just drop out, or maybe I can't do this, right? So we're going to talk about those 3 instances when you come back and sort of start working on how we can start changing that to a positive thought. Does that sound like something that you can do?
Yes.
Do you think that you're likely to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, so I want to go over a summary. So we did a lot today. We went over introductions. We did a mood check. Also, how are you feeling right now on a scale of 1 to 10? How anxious are you?
It's like a 6.
It's a 6? Okay, so it's gone down a little bit.
I'm a little anxious still, but I'm optimistic about.
Good, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
That's going to help a lot, yeah. All right, so we went over a mood check, 2 of them, and we're going to do that every week, by the way.
Okay.
And then we also set a goal, and then we educated a little bit on CBT, which we're going to do every week, and we went over homework, and now we're doing the summary, and that was our 10-minute session, which was pretty short today. And then I also just wanted to ask you for any feedback. Is there anything that I did that bothered you? Anything that you'd like to see me do differently?
No, it was great.
Okay.
This is my first time.
Oh, really?
So I didn't really have a lot of expectations.
Okay.
I think you did great.
Well, if you ever do have something that pops up, feel free to let me know. I want to make sure that I'm serving you in the best way possible.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Of course.
Okay. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well.